Hello, and welcome to this presentation on documentation for the TAB study. I was struck by this quote when we did key informant interviews for CTN 129. It reminded me that data is more than just entries into a form. The entire evaluation of a research protocol depends upon the data collected from the participants. Each study record represents a real person and should be respected as you would respect the person from whom it was received. Documentation for a specific participant includes CRFs, both paper and electronic, progress notes, lab and test results, and checklists. In addition, there is documentation that must be maintained for the study as a whole. This information includes guidance documents, correspondence with the IRB, the lead team, the sponsor, and information about the staff conducting the trial. Let's start with the guidance documents. For this study, there are three main guidance documents provided by the lead team. Those are the protocol, the operations manual and its appendices, and the CRF manual, all of which are posted on the CTN TPR website. In addition, each site has a group of local SOPs that have been reviewed and approved by the lead team. Now that this study has started, we periodically post questions from sites and the answers in our FAQ document. Together, all these guidance documents provide a roadmap in sufficient detail to provide clear direction on how to perform the study. I always like to say that these guidance documents together would help a total stranger come in and know how to conduct the study in the event that we all win the Powerball and suddenly decide to move to Tahiti. Study staff should have the current versions of each of these close at hand and review them regularly to ensure that procedures and documentation are being carried out according to study standards. Have a question about how to do something? Chances are good it's in one or more of these documents, so look there first. In addition to the guidance documents, staff should maintain electronic files of all study documents for printing as needed. Data forms, checklists, releases, logs, handouts, recruitment materials, and retention materials. Additionally, each participant will have their own timeframes worksheet, which will be maintained electronically until the end of their study participation, and then printed out and placed in their study binder for safekeeping. Although we talked about it in the overall good documentation practices video, I just want to remind everyone that the appropriate checklist must be completed for every visit from pre-screening through week 30. These checklists are meant to guide staff through the visit. The first section of the checklist always starts with a reminder of the materials needed for the visit. This is to help staff gather everything they need before the visit begins and helps them stay organized. There's no documentation needed in the materials section. This is simply an organizational aid to help prepare for the visit. The next section of the checklist is the tasks and assessments for the visit. There are three columns in this section: the initial column, the task column, and the brief instructions column. As tasks are performed, the person completing that task or the person responsible for verifying that the task was completed by someone else will initial be cited in the initial column. This initialing is the official documentation of completion and prevents you from having to write everything that was done in the visit in the progress note section. As a reminder, this section is meant to be completed in real time as the visit progresses. Do not wait until after the visit is over to initial these tasks. The second column gives a brief reminder of the actual task to be accomplished, while the brief instructions column provides you with the high-level details and any important issues to pay attention to. Most of the checklists also include a section for administrative tasks following the visit task section. These are non-assessment activities such as providing participant reimbursement and completing the visit documentation form in eClinical. Section 3 helps staff remember to manage their data and asks them to document when that data management task has been completed. That way, study data and documentation remains organized and helps to ensure everything is in place and easy to find. And the last section is the progress note that includes required checkboxes to complete, a free text area to capture any needed supplementary details, and a place to sign and date the form. Although much of the documentation for CTN 152 is electronically maintained, there will still be quite a bit of actual paper to manage. In order to keep it all organized, we ask study staff to follow the binder system spelled out in the Manual of Procedures. For participants, we must ensure that all information is separated into 1. Documents that have participant identifiers, and 2. Those that utilize codes when referring to the participant. Since there is very little documentation on paper during the pre-screening process, we suggest that sites use one binder for pre-screening forms with participant identifiers, such as the pre-screen locator form, and combine all participants together in reverse chronological order. If there are paper-coded pre-screen interviews, those two should be combined together for all participants in reverse chronological order. Similarly, the PHI or PII and coded binders for failed screeners should combine all failed screeners together, filing their documents in reverse chronological order. Once randomized, each participant will have their own individual PHI and coded data binders. The Master Enrollment Log is the only place where participant PHI or PII and coded IDs should appear together, and that log should be securely stored away from the binders. Two other types of binders will be needed for the study. Each site will have one or more binders to hold the regulatory files. Regulatory files hold things like the IRB submissions, but they also include study correspondence, study staff training and licensure documentation, reportable events, and notes to file. These files are ideally maintained as hard copies, but it is permissible for sites to use electronic regulatory binders, provided their electronic filing system is 21 CFR Part 11 compliant and follows the same file structure used for paper regulatory binders. The unblinded staff will need binders for maintaining logs associated with medication accountability and temperature monitoring. These must be stored in a secure locked area that is accessible only to unblinded staff. Although not required, staff may find it helpful to maintain their logs in binders as well. While some sites may wish to have a separate binder for each type of log, another method is to have a binder holding active pages only, and then transfer those active pages to their permanent storage location once the active page is full, or once it refers to a participant who is no longer active. And speaking of logs, there are a lot of logs to assist the team in staying organized and ensuring appropriate documentation. We've already seen some of these logs in other presentations, but let's take a closer look at a few others. First, let's look at the communication log. Each contact and contact attempt should be documented as a way to demonstrate effective communication and retention efforts. To avoid having to progress note each contact that occurs outside of a visit, we have developed this communication log. The communication log will be kept for each individual participant and will document staff efforts at maintaining contact. The columns are fairly self-explanatory. The first column is used to enter the date and time of the contact or attempted contact. Column 2 is completed to indicate the reason for the contact, such as to schedule a visit, do a visit reminder, follow up after a missed visit, etc. The code list for this appears at the bottom of the page. Only codes 1 through 6 should be entered into the second column. The third column is to code the type of contact: phone, email, mail, social media, etc. Again, the code list for this appears at the bottom of the page, and only codes 7 through 15 should be used in the third column. Next is the contact result column, which utilizes codes 16 through 24 to indicate the outcome of the contact or contact attempt. A comments column is available to specify codes 6, 15, and 24 as needed. However, this should not be used to document information from the contact that is significant medically, clinically, or for continued study participation. For example, if the contact yields information that the participant has been arrested and will be incarcerated for 6 months, that information should be documented on a general progress note, not in the comments section of this log. Finally, study staff should initial each entry as it is documented. For the reimbursement log, we anticipate that several pages will be needed, so staff should number each page in the top right-hand corner. Also note, we will identify this log by the participant's name, not study ID, as they will be signing and we don't want to mix participant identifying data with their coded ID. In the first column, enter the visit number being reimbursed. Remember that if a weekly visit is extended by combining with a month 1, month 3, or month 6 visit on the same day, the participant is only reimbursed once with the amount designated for the combined extended visit. In this case, staff would enter both visit numbers on the same line and indicate that this was a combined visit in the comments column. Column 2 is the date of the visit, and column 3 is the total amount to be paid. Column 4 indicates what type of payment or payments are included, and it allows staff to indicate if it is a reduced payment due to the participant not traveling to the visit. After receiving payment, the participant signs in the center column, and staff initials the next column to verify that the payment was made. The last column is for comments as needed. For example, if the site is providing reimbursement in the form of a debit card, staff may want to enter the card number for tracking and accounting purposes. 2 device logs will be used to track inventory for the study Fitbits and the participant's cell phones. Each of these capture the date of issue, identifying information for the device, and the participant to whom it was issued. The Fitbit log also includes a column with a checkbox to indicate if a participant returns a temporary screening Fitbit. If you've ever done a CTN study before, you've probably seen this one. The study temperature log will be pre-completed with all the acceptable temperature ranges. Site staff will enter the investigator and site names, the month and year being tracked on this sheet, the storage location, and the study article or articles stored there. Each storage location should have its own temperature log. However, if 2 study articles are being stored in the same location, only one log is needed. For example, if staff store the urine pregnancy tests and the urine drug screen cups in the same cabinet, only one temperature log is required, but both study articles should be indicated on the log. The temperature logs should utilize a new sheet for each month of the study during which these temperature-sensitive articles are being stored on site. And that's about it for this brief overview of study documentation. If you have any questions, please reach out to the lead node. Thanks.